Good morning. It's Monday, November the 23rd, and this is The Drill. Thank you. Welcome to, we're going to do the prayer of the day. That's right. The prayer of the day comes from me. Dear Lord, please open the eyes of faux conservatives. Please let them escape from the cult of neutrality so that they can freely walk, talk, act, and speak like true conservatives. Amen. Welcome to all the butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers out there. I'm Ron, your host, and the only true conservative in the United States today. Who is the true conservative? First and foremost, he is realistic. Secondly, he is God-fearing. The true conservative is the man who follows his plan. He's appropriate. He is the person that has the courage of his convictions and is confident in what he knows. He is the person that subordinates politics to reality. He's not selfish but minds his own business. He acts like an adult. He is patriotic and uses common sense. He is judgmental and moralizes. He refuses to speculate, speaks clearly and definitively, and is not afraid to say no. He's open-minded, asking why, rather than why not. He is consistent, credible, and influential, not ashamed of his existence, unafraid to learn or correct his mistakes. He is a normal American, and he is better than the socialist. He's a better friend, father, brother, family member, and a better person, period. You have to know that being a true conservative is best, or you're wasting your time. Additional examples of what it means to be a true conservative stylistically can be heard by listening to John Cobelt and Ken Champeau on the John and Ken Show on KFI AM 640 Monday through Friday from 2 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. My podcast is short, approximately 5 to 20 minutes long, because shorter podcasts are easier to download and listen to. The biggest socio-political influences in my life are my parents, my teachers, Hugh-Hewitt, Glen-Beck, Rush-Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, Dennis-Prager, Buck-Sexton, Joe Pags, the Enlightenment, Ayn Rand, and Dr. Mortimer Adler. My podcast is made available through Spreaker and can be heard on iTunes, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. I can be reached at thedrill12@gmail.com. Today, where do we stand? The 5 Commandments, Quote of the Day, How to Win, Conservative Vocabulary, How to Think About the President's Lawsuits, Conservative Aphorisms, Socialist Aphorisms, and Socialist Vocabulary. All that when I come back. Thank you. The biggest problem with the news, besides undeclared bias, is the lack of continuity. Hence, where do we stand? Rudy Giuliani and his team held a press conference the other day outlining the case that there was widespread voting fraud in this election. The presentation was impressive. It was professional, direct, and unequivocal. Donald J. Trump is still president of the United States. We, Republicans, have a 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court. Republicans have gained at least 8 seats in the House of Representatives. The Senate is currently 50-48 in favor of the Republicans, with 2 races outstanding. By the way, the senators have the guts to ask us for more donations to help win these races. Please call the Senate switchboard at the number that I will provide later in the broadcast and leave a message for your senator telling them we'll give them donations when they give us a stimulus check. Republicans have 27 governorships to the Democrats' 23. Republicans control 55 of 99 state legislative chambers. Since the Democrats suck, this is good news. President Trump and his team are fighting massive voter fraud. 4 more states have lost their mind and legalized the recreational use of marijuana, and the state of California is about to go completely insane by creating a ballot measure to decriminalize magic mushrooms, heroin, and cocaine. This is what the left does. It creates a foundation and then builds on it. And we are in the position we're in vis-a-vis drugs because we allowed the legalization of marijuana to be used as a foundation for legalizing other poisons. The monster that's been arraigned for shooting 2 Los Angeles deputies should, if there's any real justice, get the death penalty. George Soros is still not dead yet, but I sure wish he was. No law enforcement union has been decertified, and no laws shielding officers from prosecution have yet been repealed, and that's dangerous. The most unpatriotic piece of legislation, the Patriot Act, is still the law of the land, mocking the Constitution and creating the blueprint for the autocratic rule in this pandemic. New York Times v. Sullivan continues to encourage news people to be super citizens who can use unnamed sources to slander and defame people at will without fear of consequences, meaning they can't be fired, they can't be sued, they can't be criminally prosecuted. It should be overturned. Where is the expose on the Washington Press Corps? Where is nonprofit news? The communist flu continues. Blue Cross and Kaiser Permanente continue to take our premiums while they use lockdowns to avoid paying claims. Governor Newsom has enacted a racist scheme to keep Californians locked down indefinitely. When I come back, conservative vocabulary. Thank you. Since there is no neutral, and there is more to being a true conservative than how you vote, if you want to be a true conservative, you have to act, think, and talk like a true conservative. Hence, conservative vocabulary. Words that have been basically left out of the American lexicon. Words like no, go back, acceptance, mind your own business. From now on, right, wrong, should, good, bad, evil, reality, certainty, morality, beauty, and polity. These are terms the left doesn't want you to use because they are realistic. How to win. You win by following the conservative commandments. Number 1, thou shalt not be neutral. Number 2, thou shalt not be pragmatic. Number 3, thou shalt not be idealistic. Number 4, thou shalt not subscribe to the cult of expertise. And number 5, thou shalt mind thine own business. When some lefty asks you, where is all the evidence of election fraud? The best answer is, evidence to satisfy whom? Because there is no good answer to that question for the lefty. The quote of the day, quote, my analysis is that most faith-based systems depend upon an absolute moral order, unquote. Hugh-Hewitt. As conservatives, we make the presumption for the status quo and change only when there is an obvious or prima facie case for change. However, many of the changes that our civilization has seen are not necessary, but gratuitous. The following is a list of ideas, concepts, abstractions that should not have been changed, so they should be brought back. Bring back sanity, privacy, property rights, outlawry, single-income households, integration, parenting, along with it corporal punishment, the primacy of existence, certainty of knowledge, and universal rights and wrongs. Bring back principled behavior, masculinity and femininity, the pre-1970 filibuster, Adam 12, John F. Kennedy, the gold standard, pre-HMO medical care, nonprofit news, civil service, the term stupid question, arguments and fights, the cultural influence of the church and the Boy Scouts. Bring back the Lions Club and the Rotary Club. Bring back bowling. Bring back linear thinking. Bring back smart. Be of good cheer. The universe is benevolent and the success is to be expected. Therefore, the left has no authority, no power, and they can't win. Think about it. How to think about crazy. I earlier said we were going to do thinking about the president's lawsuits, and that was wrong. So we're going to talk about crazy. We already talked about the president's lawsuits. We scratch our heads and wonder why everything seems so crazy. The behavior of a lot of people today is crazy because we have come to value crazy. Let me say that again. We have come to value crazy. We value crazy as being exciting and bold. How many times in our lives have we said about somebody or something, wow, that was crazy, or wow, he's crazy, and said it with a tone of admiration? How many movies have we stood in line to watch that were about crazy? Lethal Weapon series, for instance. Here's the IMDb description for the first of the Lethal Weapon series. Quote, Mel Gibson plays a crazed cop who teams up with a family cop, Danny Glover. At first, they can't stand each other, blah, blah, blah. A crazed cop. And throughout the movie, the crazed cop is portrayed as an attractive individual who is wild, funny, and successful. Back to real life. What a surprise when young people show up at a peaceful protest dressed all in black to spit on the police and set fire to everything in sight. Remember, the true conservative values sanity. Conservative aphorisms. Why? Who asked you? Who cares? Who is we? Are you sure? How do you know? No, you don't understand. No, you are not listening. No, you're not a leader or a change agent. Who died and left you in charge? Who told you that? You don't know? When are you going to figure it out? And my personal favorite, get off of my lawn. Socialist aphorisms. Subvert the dominant paradigm. Question authority. Question everything. Coexist. Up next, Socialist Vocabulary. Thank you. Since nobody wears uniforms, how do you identify the socialists in your midst? By their vocabulary. Socialist vocabulary includes such words as stakeholders, Latinx, empower, going forward, mansplaining, politically correct, supportive, hegemony, organic, grassroots, code word and dog whistle, buy-in, pushback, stuck on stupid, walk it back, and the masses. The ICE tip line is 866-347-2423. The White House switchboard is 202-456-1111 or 202-456-1414. The Senate House switchboard is 202-224-3121. Back in a minute. Thank you very much. Who is the socialist? He is the man that seeks consensus rather than develop his own opinions. He's subjective, petty, and small, taking everything in life personally. He's outrageous, boring, and rude. He pretends to be a leader and a change agent. He's manipulative. He is sly, cunning, and deceptive. He dresses, acts, and speaks like a slob. He's informal and terminally unique. He's childish and pretends that he knows nothing. He's pragmatic and ignores his conscience. He acts randomly and rationalizes his behavior. Deterministic, blaming others for his mistakes. Skeptical, demanding that others solve his problems. His unreasonableness and irresponsibility make him a bad role model, as well as a bad father, brother, family member, friend, and just a bad person, period. So if you think that you should be friends with a socialist, think again. On the next episode of The Drill, a sensible and compassionate anti-COVID strategy. That's an article from the latest issue of Imprimis. And that concludes another episode of The Drill. Be honest, be smart, be beautiful, and always ask yourself, what is real, how do I know, and what should I do about it? I'm Ron, and that's The Drill.